Hey, it's A Drink with Derek. Derek Richards, your host here as we do the Reopening Las Vegas series with Cyndi Nelson, the general manager of Brad Garrett's Comedy Club at the MGM in Las Vegas. Great to see you. How are you?
Nice to see you too, and obviously nice to be back in the club for right now.
Well, and this is, before getting further, how long, you've been here in Las Vegas now for a couple of years now running Brad's Club. How long have you been in this comedy racket? Because you were working,
right?
You were running. Okay. How long have you been at it altogether?
I was with Zanies about 25 years, 24, 25 years. So a long time. I'm really old. So
wow.
Yeah, I started with Zanies and I did about 20 years with them and 21, 22 years. And then I've been out here for about 2.5 years already now. So yeah, long time.
Well, of course, the first rule you tell comedians when they get to a club is don't sleep with the wait staff. And you went ahead and married one. So nice job.
I did. You're right. I know. And I broke her. I'm not wait staff though. And and when I met him, I guess he was a comedian. Yeah, he was. I know. But the other one, that still applies to comics.
So could you have ever imagined in your wildest dreams that we'd be sitting here talking about reopening Las Vegas? I mean, it was a stunner to everybody that Vegas ended up shutting down. I never thought in a million years that anything would shut down Las Vegas, and it did. And in your wildest dreams, could you have even thought that we'd be having this conversation right now?
Never. You know, from what I understand, the only other time that the shows and a couple other things were shut down was for a day or two after 9/11, like the shows didn't do it. And obviously after the October 1 thing here, the shows down after the October thing at Route 94 or 91, we shut down, everybody shut down for the next day. And so when we left, March 13th was our last show. And when we left here, I thought, and then weeks turned into months and months turned into the better part of a year. So no, I never in a million years would have thought you could shut down Las Vegas, but it did. So we're happy to be back.
I know. It's so exciting to be talking about reopening Brad Garrett's Comedy Club. When does it officially reopen?
All right. We are officially reopening. Our schedule will be 2 shows Friday night. So we officially reopened Friday, November 6th. And we are doing 2 shows Friday nights, a 7 and a 10 p.m., 2 shows Saturday night, a 7 and a 10 p.m., and then an 8 p.m. show on Sunday. So we're just opening with 5 shows a week in 3 days. Because of the governor's mandates of 25 feet from the stage to the front row, obviously, this showroom. I mean, 25 feet takes up half of it. So most comedy clubs are designed to be small, intimate, tightly set, low ceilings. And that's not conducive to social distancing. So we are moving up to the studio ballrooms, which is near the Grand Garden Ballroom. And Ed and I just had a tour of it and went over the setup, and it's going to be great. But we are able up in the studio ballrooms, we are still able to get, about half our capacity in the club. But to have 25-foot distancing that the governor mandates from the stage, we had to move in. And also the social distancing, the 6 feet away from everybody, we had to move into a bigger room. So they're great rooms. It's a good location. And we're going to make it look the best we can up there to look. Obviously, this is one of the greatest clubs in Las Vegas, and I'm hard to say the country. And it's got a certain look, and it's all Brad, like all the pictures and stuff in there. It's not probably going to have that intimate of a feel, obviously, because we'll be in ballrooms. But when Ed and I just went up there, we're setting up to be the best club we can possibly be up there. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the reopening.
Well, it's going to be now, obviously, since it's not in a location where you're talking to me from right now within the club. Do they have, is the MGM planning for all kinds of obvious signage, getting people to these different venues? Because I know other shows are opening at the MGM, such as Jabberwockies and Copperfield and all that. I mean, are they? I know Jabberwockies is in a different location, so are they doing all the necessary steps, hopefully, to direct people to the right spot?
Yes, and we're working with the MGM on signage, and we're also going to have people to direct from the club to the new location. Actually, Jabberwockies and Brad Garrett's Comedy Club will be real close to each other up by the Grand Garden Ballrooms. David Copperfield staying where he's at, so he's able to stay in that room, which will help. And Jabberwockies and the comedy club, Brad's Comedy Club, have show times as to not have a bunch of people together in one space at one time. So it's all easy to find. It'll be well known. Yeah, what?
Well, not for nothing. It would be funny to see Copperfield thrown out of his own theater.
That's not happening. He's comfortable up there. He's got everything up there. He's got all his lights and whatever he needs to run his show. So I think that'll be good that they're staying there too. So that'll be one less show we have to worry about social distancing the lines for. So I think,
well, yeah, you don't want to, well, you don't want to have the bunnies be relocated. I mean, they're, popping out of a hat. They're used to staying backstage over there at his theater. So you don't want to put the rabbits in a new location. That just makes it weird. Now what's going on behind the scenes? What's going on behind the scenes during these restrictions that the audience doesn't know about, that you and obviously all of your staff need to deal with in terms of precautions that the club needs to take to protect the staff, the entertainers, the guests, and so forth?
Well, obviously, every employee that enters the MGM will have a temperature check. And if their temperature's over the guideline, they will be sent home. We're going to be temperature checking not only our comics, but the staff as well. All guests, when they purchase their tickets, have to fill out, the questionnaire. Have you been anywhere? Have you been in contact? Have you been? So there's a questionnaire that they have to fill out to get the tickets. And then we're basically going touchless, the touchless ticketing, so the scanning. The rooms, we have a little bit of time, obviously with 7 o'clock and 10 o'clock shows, we're going to have time in between, and we need that time because the rooms are going to be disinfected with the electrostatic foggers, kind of the backpack foggers between shows. All the tables, all the chairs, everything will be disinfected between shows. So after each show, it'll be disinfected again and prepared for the next show. Distancing in line. There's every precaution that we could possibly take is being taken here. So I feel comfortable. Guests must wear masks. They even have to wear the masks, at the show, during the show, whether they're not, if they're actively drinking, they can take it off, take a drink, put it down. But really, like in dining, when you get to a table, you can take your mask off. If you're not actively eating or drinking in the showroom, you have to have your mask on, covering the nose and mouth.
Sure. Well, now I can't imagine how much cleaner Brad Garrett's club could be. I mean, I could literally drink whiskey off the floor in that place, and I may or may not have done that. I'm not going to admit to it, but I mean that place. I'm sure you have. That place is insanely clean. So, I mean, I can't imagine what additional steps need to be taken, but obviously, there's the sanitizer machines that you're talking about that are going to be, really going out of the way to protect people. And obviously too, if you don't feel well, stay home. I mean, don't come in and cause a problem, with anybody else. So now, are you ultimately answering to?
And you think, if you don't feel well,
I'm sorry, what's that?
No, I know where you're going with this. We're answering to the MGM, who's answering to the governor and the gaming board. So the MGM is setting our guidelines, to which Brad and Ed and I wholeheartedly agree, because they really are being very safe about it. But it's the MGM guidelines, and the MGM goes on up and answers to the gaming board and ultimately the governor. So every MGM show has the same guidelines, whether it's here at the Luxor, at the Excalibur, we all have the same guidelines. I believe there's only 7 shows coming back. So we're very honored and happy to be one of them.
No, I think it's amazing. If anybody's going to pull this thing off and make it as seamless as possible, it's you and the whole staff over there, Ed and Zach and everybody. And, and I know that Brad cares greatly about the club and about the audience and about everybody that he's in touch with, the entertainers and the wait staff and everybody too. And I know everybody's yanking their hair out during this whole process, waiting for something to happen. And it's, and the 25-foot rule is in place now, but, maybe hopefully in a couple of weeks or a few weeks, that'll go away. But I think it makes sense to be as precautious as you can right now as everything starts to open up and everybody becomes more comfortable about going out to the shows.
And that's what I'm hearing, that we don't know how long the 25-foot distance is going to last. But I will tell you what Ed and I have had many conversations with Brad about this. We wouldn't have come back if we couldn't present the best show we possibly can during this time. Like, we weren't going to come back until certain other things were put into place. So not only has it got to be the best show, but it's got to be safe for our staff, our comics, and our audience as well. So I feel pretty comfortable about what we are going to be presenting now for our audience.
Well, I'm excited for this thing to get going. BradGarrettComedy.com is the website. Of course, all the regular outlets are still out there available to purchase tickets. It's all going to be, just a ticketless system. It's all touchless. It'll just be on your phone to scan when you come in the door. Is that how that works?
It will be, yeah. And there will be some of the third-party ones. I'm working with them. They are going to be involved with the selling of the tickets too. The majority of stuff's going to go through the MGM box office, but the third-party ones will be available as well. They'll just be a little bit more limited because obviously our capacity here is much more limited. As every show that's opening up now, even the big, huge shows are moving into even bigger theaters because the capacity is obviously about 50% once you include social distancing and that 25-foot. So even going into a bigger room, you would think we could do our capacity, but going to a room that seats more than twice as many, we still can only have the capacity of half our audience, just because of all the precautions and the guidelines.
Well, it's going to be great. I know it's going to work out perfect. If anybody's going to pull this thing off and make it look fantastic, it's you guys. I can't thank you enough for your time. I know you've been tied up in a bunch of meetings and you just came off of a big travel day too. So thank you so much. And can't wait to see you guys. It's going to be great.
Thanks, Derek. Same. We're looking forward to seeing you back here too. Check the websites and November 6th.